Welcome to another episode of Fic Fiction, a magical bookish podcast for chaotic story goblins like us. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Sophie Snow, author of The Rule of Three, Legally Binding, False Confidence, and Naughty or Nice. Sophie writes spicy romance books with messy, queer characters and too many Taylor Swift references to count. She has been in love with love stories for as long as she can remember and writing them as songs and novels since she was 12. A forest fairy in a past life, she loves spending time in nature, drinking too much coffee, and trying out more hobbies than she can keep up with, and we feel so lucky to get to talk to her.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. As always, we're your hosts, Crimson,
Molly,
and Emmy.
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
So, we are so excited to, well, Molly already knew you, Sophie, but
Yes.
Emmy and I are so excited to meet you. We're so excited to have you on the pod and talk to you about your books. So, could you maybe start off by just telling the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so hello, I'm Sophie. I live in Scotland near Amy. And I write spicy romance, and I kind of describe it as romance with characters who need to go to therapy, is generally the way I describe it. So I've been writing, like you said, since I was 12. I first published not last year, it's 2023, I first published. And I am currently working on my fifth book, which is going to be coming out hopefully in July, if all goes to plan.
Yes. We'll talk about that one later because I have questions. Okay.
Okay.
Many questions.
No pressure.
Molly just wants to know if she
ready.
can have it early. That's
Of course. Yeah. Oh, always.
Well. Oh man. So, what kind of got you into writing originally? You say you've been doing it since you were 12.
Yeah. So I've been writing since I was 12. That's when I started songwriting. So I started in songwriting, and then I realized that I wanted to know more about these characters I was writing about. So I ended up writing books. I wrote an entire trilogy about these characters, and that will never see the light of day because it's horrendous. But I did write an entire trilogy about these characters I'd been writing songs about. But before that, I just remember when I was younger, I was very much like a make up stories all the time, not like in a lying way, but like in a play way. So I remember like I would just sit and like play by myself, and I like had all my stuffed animals, and I would make up like stories for them and stuff. Like it's been a long time coming, but I've always been a big reader, so I think that's kind of where my love of story started. And ever since I can remember, I've like been making up like stories for what happens after books, and before I even knew fan fiction was a thing. And then I discovered fan fiction, it was game over.
Ooh.
Like everything changed.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
We
She is our
speaking about
people.
fan fiction.
We're often
Falling into the right hands here.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a fan fiction reader. I need to know everything. What's your fandom? What's your favorite ship? Like, tell me.
So my fanfiction fandom is Twilight, which is confusing because I like Twilight, but not as much as I like Twilight fanfiction. Like I like the fanfiction more.
Yeah.
My ship is Bella and Carlisle.
Yes.
And also
Yes.
yeah. And also Alice and Jessica.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like
Those
that.
were my favourite ships. But I also a lot of Edward and Bella, like the first fanfiction I ever read, which was called Age of Consent, which I do think says a lot about who I am as a person now. I was 13 when I read that, so it was really formative. And that was an Edward and Bella one. And it's actually the reason that I have books set in Seattle, because it's a nod to Twilight fanfiction, because I was so obsessed growing up.
Okay, but
Nice.
as a Twilight fanfic girly myself as well, I need to know what are some of your favorites?
Okay. So all-time favourite fanfiction is Wallbanger, which is now a book. Like it got published, and I got to meet the author a few years ago, and I ran up to her and I was like, oh my god, I used to love your fanfictions, and she was like, you look too young for that, which was so true.
I mean, that's all of us.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
If you didn't start when you were 12, then you
What were you
didn't read the
doing?
right things.
Exactly. I often look at like the people that are like, I can't believe what kids are reading these days, and I'm like, yeah, no, me either. It's not like we were doing that back then. Never.
Yeah. We were talking to strangers online.
Yeah, like Habbo Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And like Omegle. Like
Oh,
Oh,
God,
man.
yeah, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my favorite is Wallbanger, and then there's a couple of like, I'm not a sports girly. I like hockey, that's it. But when it comes to fan fiction, for some reason, football, like American football.
Nice.
There's a couple of American football ones that I reread on a regular basis. It's just so comforting.
Amazing. I love how you're like, I'm not a sports girly, but I like hockey now. But like
It's new.
maybe like 6 months ago, you're like, I'm never gonna write a sports
Yeah.
romance.
No, I did. And like, you're the only person I ever said that to, and I've had to eat my words.
Nice.
is this why you, because I see on your Instagram all the time you're always at the hockey matches. Are you
Yeah.
like a Glasgow clan girly? Because
I am. I don't know how this happened.
I am only a Glasgow clan ice hockey girly when Belfast are not playing against them. And then I have
Oh.
to support my own team.
That's controversial.
Yeah.
Belfast make me sad because they're unfortunately really good.
I said this though to Alex, my partner, my fiance. He supports Glasgow, but he only supports Glasgow because I got him into ice hockey, and he has to support Glasgow, obviously.
Okay.
But they've been playing really well this year because they've beaten Belfast a few times, and I think they've had like a whole new.
Yeah, like there's been a lot going on this year. Like this is my first year. I'm talking like I know all about it. But I have admittedly made it my entire personality. So
That's
like
fine.
I went to one game for book research, and very quickly, like I was looking up season tickets today. Like we're trying to
It
calculate how
sucks
much we
you
need to
in.
spend. It does. It's so bad.
Well,
Also so good.
It's so good though.
Now I need to know whether the season is going to be about when we're all up there in September. We'll go
That's a
to
really
an
good
ice hockey
point.
game.
When does the season start?
So-
Part of me says November.
The first game of the season was September 28th this year, or last year, but they did preseason as well. So you might be okay.
That is true.
So it will be September. Because my friend Claire and I had booked a holiday for September. And then once we got into hockey, we moved our holiday so that we wouldn't miss the start of the season.
I love that.
That's so
Yeah.
fun. I'm definitely going to run into you at an ice hockey match at some point. I'll
Amazing.
message you the next time I'm going.
Yeah. I'm always there.
I will be at the Belfast match in March. So
I will also be there. Because there's only like 8 games of the season left. I'm not missing any. So I will be rooting against you, though. I'm really sorry.
we can just like scream at each other. It's fine.
That's okay.
Obscenities across the ice.
Anyway.
That's what sports is all about, baby.
100%.
The hockey players will just be confused to be like, they seem to be having something completely different going on between them. It's got nothing to do with us.
Oh, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Speaking about screaming though, let's talk a
What
little
a
bit about your
segue.
books, I think, because
Well, wait,
I
I have
mean-
a question.
oh yeah, go for it.
Because I know we talked about like writing songs and then fan fiction, but how do we get from fan fiction teenager to author?
Oh, that is a very
That's
good
a good
question.
question. So I wrote this trilogy based on some of the songs I'd written, and I went through like a moment with the trilogy in that I wrote 35,000 words and then realized the main love interest was not the love interest, which back when I was writing it was a big deal. Nowadays people do that left, right, and center, but like then that was very stressful. And so I shelved it for like 5 years, and I came back. I finally finished it, and it was awful. So bad, truly horrendous. Just so bad. And I pivoted. I started writing fantasy instead. And I got like 60% into a fantasy draft and then 40% into another. And I was like, this is not working. And I thought, I'm never going to finish another book. But then I wrote The Rule of Three. And it had been living in my head for a long time. And so I eventually sat down and wrote it. And then I think I wrote another book after that, which Molly has read. Very few people have read it, but Molly's read it. And it will come at some point. And then after that is when I wrote Legally Binding, which was my second book that I released. And as I was writing it, I was like, do you know what? Actually, this is pretty good. I like this. And I feel like people would like it. So
Damn straight they
decided-
like it.
yeah. They
I
seem
screamed
to.
the whole time. Yeah.
They seem to like it.
Emmy devoured.
We
that
lost
book, like,
Emmy.
so fast.
It is my baby. Like, I love all my books equally, but that one has caused me the least amount of stress, so I think I love it most. So it was as I was writing that I was like, I actually feel like I can make a go of this. So I published my debut. It went really pretty well for a debut. And then I published Legally Binding, and it's like everything changed overnight. Like I suddenly had so many more readers and everything kind of exploded. And been playing catch up since then, if we're being honest. But we're getting through it.
You're killing it, don't worry.
Yeah, we're trying.
So I feel like we need to go back to where it actually began. So we need to talk a bit about the Rule of Three, because that was your first baby that you published.
It was.
So for the listeners, I have been a fan since the Rule of Three. I was an ARC reader. I'm on the street team. I'm now beta read occasionally. So I'm like a hardcore, like diehard Sophie fan. And the Rule of Three follows just the most badass female main character, called Tessa. And she is recovering from a really shitty relationship with a world-famous musician, and it's all very public. So she leaves her life in London and goes to New York to escape the tabloids, and she meets... I can't really put him into one word, to be honest. Like, I adore him. River, she meets River in a New York bookshop, and the two hit it off, and they have a one-night stand. She thinks she's never going to see him again, and then it ends up being that he's her neighbor.
Oh no!
And not only is he her neighbor, he also has the most delicious model, sometimes lover, best friend, who is also super into Tessa. So
you did a much better job of that than I would. Thank you.
This sounds like a dream. I'm not gonna lie. I think I need to pick this one up next.
I would also like to be the sandwich between River and Cassian, to be fair. But what inspired you to write this book? What was the inspiration behind the characters?
So I'm a lot of my ideas come to me in dreams, and I had a dream while I was writing that old trilogy about Tessa and Jay. And I thought they were the couple. So Jay is her awful ex-boyfriend, fiance. And I thought they were the couple. But at the time I was going through this whole thing in the previous trilogy where the original love interest wasn't the love interest. And I was like, I'm going to put that in the back burner for now. Just make sure that that's, the real couple. And the more I got to know them in my head, the more I realised that he was not the one for her. And so I just kind of let them live up there. Just let them live up there for a while, kind of let her... It sounds so unhinged when I talk about how my characters live in my head and just do their own things. But they tell me what they need, and eventually River and Cass popped up, and I was like, oh, there's the story. And I wanted to write a character who was in her, like, the start of her reputation era, moving into her lover era. That was the goal.
Yeah.
This book is so full of Taylor Swift references.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable, and I was squealing the whole time. Like, first of all, they live on Cornelia Street.
They do.
They live on Cornelia Street. But
love it.
I find it really funny that Jay was originally the love interest, because he is so Jake Gyllenhaal, John Mayer,
right? And can you imagine if I'd written that? Like, that would not have been a happy ending.
It's like, hot pass.
Yeah. Definitely not.
It's so funny because obviously Tessa is the real talent here. She is the one that needs the recognition, but Jay is the one that's getting it.
Yeah, it really infuriates me. It's something that I do a lot when I'm writing, is I feel like I find it really hard to men, I'm not a big fan, to be really honest. It's just the best way to put it. Not a big fan. And so I often write men in books who just don't have a lot of flaws, because I find it really hard to forgive a man with flaws. Like, just stop it. Whereas I feel like my female main characters have to overcome a lot more. But Tess, I found that really hard, because I was like, no, she's already overcome it. Like, let's just leave her be, let her have all her things. And I really enjoyed that, just writing a female main character who's just killing it from page one. I love that.
I love that, because as a reader, I'm like, with male characters, either I will forgive them everything because of no reason at all, or they can literally never redeem themselves because of one bad thing. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
And
so
that's
I
just Jane.
appreciate male main characters that like don't piss me off too much because it is hard to crawl your way back.
I really, really struggle with it. And I just like I don't know. Like I know a lot of people love the grovel. And you're gonna like my own characters can't convince me with groveling, so I can't convince the readers.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
It makes so much sense, but also at the same time, like you write such beautiful male characters. Sorry, like my brain is it's the cough medicine. So, you're at least it wasn't.
She's drunk.
And so you write such beautiful male characters. The relationship between Cassian and River was stunning. Do you have any inspiration behind it for them and that relationship?
So I have never had characters appear to me as vividly as River and Cass. Like they popped into my head as fully formed people, and it was actually incredibly jarring. So I had no idea what to do with them. At that point, I'd never written from a male point of view before, so I was completely baffled. I was like, "How did there's two? Like I have to try and figure out two." And there's a lot that goes into writing a relationship with more than two people anyway, like figuring out chapters and choreography is a big thing. Like there's a lot that goes into it, and I just had no idea what to do with them. So I basically sat and wrote about 10 chapters from each of them that ended up getting scrapped just to try and get to know them and see what they were like together, like before Tessa. Because I think that was such an important part of their relationship is how they got to where they were, because they've been through a lot together. And I think that's probably what makes them seem like such strong friends, is because they have such a long relationship. I think they've known each other since they were 4, and they had been together like 20 years before or something. So yeah, like I think just spending time with them before was a huge help.
I think what I need to know is, will you be returning to that world? I say that world. we both know that Tessa does make somewhat of an appearance. Like there's a bit of it's like a insinuation that she's in the universe of
Yes.
Legally Binding. But will you be going back? I need to know about that very wonderful producer from Aaron.
Yeah. I want to. So it was originally my plan after Legally Binding, I was supposed to go back, and it just didn't work out. The Rule of Three has never had quite the same readership as my other books, and I think a lot of it is that I refuse to market it as a why choose, because I don't think it's a why choose. It is a queer polyamorous romance, and I just refuse to market it any other way. And so at the moment, I'm not going back, but I will in the future, 100%, because Aaron is, to date, probably like one of my top 3 characters I've ever written, and I just want to write more about them. And I know there's supposed to be 2 more books, and I know exactly what happens in them, and I know all the characters, and I love them, so I will go back eventually, I promise.
So if anything, that's just an incentive for our readers to go and read, like our listeners to go read Rule of Three, so I can get Aaron's story sooner.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah,
By
get
the
the
way,
stats up, guys.
Can I just say I want to go read this now, and I so appreciate you saying you don't want to market it that way because you don't feel like it is that, because I like poly romances and I like why choose romances, and it drives me crazy when people think there's no difference between them because they're very different vibes. Like why choose is fun, but it's very much like a trope centric kind of writing style, and it's fun, but it's not the same thing as like a heart wrenching, like a real like romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. I think
Thanks.
it's something stick to it.
It's something that's so important to me since day one. I've always said I never want to like tropify the queerness in my books. I want them to just be like, I kind of describe them as casually queer. Everyone's queer, and that's who I am, and that's what I want to write, and I just like don't want to tropify it. But at the same time, the marketing for that really tricky, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Probably doesn't go quite as viral as saying why choose.
Yeah.
That being said, Soph, your menus, as I call them, are always chef's kiss. They are stunning.
Oh, nice.
I love my menus.
I love your menus. The content warnings.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to eat at that restaurant.
Oh, I love that.
I kind of have to know, I mean, what was your thoughts looking at the content warnings for Legally Binding?
Oh yeah.
I didn't.
I feel like Legally Binding's so tame in comparison to all of my other books.
I think we need to give you the context that Emmy is our resident pretends she doesn't like spice readers.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's kind of like a closet freak, you know?
Yeah. I say pretends because like we read this admittedly weird like Christmas romance together. And she was like, I think I just don't really like spice that much. And then like she started pucking around and just like devoured it. So...
Okay, but we
I
have to
won't
point
lie.
out
where she sits.
We have to point out what Emmy thought pucking about was about because of the cover. She didn't realize they were all together. She was just like, that guy's her brother, and he's in a relationship with this guy, and they're fucking.
I like made it up. I made up my own storyline of watching
and I'm
this
sitting
cover.
there, she's pointing at the cover, and I'm like, babe, her hand is on his chest. When have you ever seen someone with their
You don't do that to your brother.
No. Well, I suppose it depends what you're reading.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a bit of spice. Like the way I would describe myself is like Fourth Wing spicy is about it's good spicy for me. With Bucking Around, I did actually skim read like the second half of that book. Like I only read the plot. At that point I was like, right, there's shagging every other chapter. Like it's just where's the plot, guys? This book is so long. Like and nothing's happening.
It is long
the
though,
whole
yeah.
time. But Molly said that I was gonna love Legally Binding, so I just jumped in. I was just like, I'm gonna do it, and I just trusted Molly and didn't read any of the trigger warning sections.
It's definitely it's the most tame, and it has the shortest content warning page out of all my books. Although my next one is going to have a shorter one, so balance.
maybe hop into Naughty or Nice without looking at the content warnings and just see what happens.
Okay.
Sure, why not?
I can't in good conscience recommend that, but you do you.
I mean, I think I would have learnt my lesson after I somehow was the guinea pig for that unhinged Christmas read about the guy that like kills people and then like
we didn't have
on
enough
their
information
bodies.
about
No.
that one.
We didn't know. We
That
were
was
just
our
like,
bad.
oh, that looks festive.
Well, I think I've read that one. What is that?
Sacked and Slayed.
I have read that one. That rings a bell.
Actually, we didn't end up reading.
No.
Only Emmy ended up reading this.
Oh God.
So we saw it on like a list and we were looking for like an unhinged kind of Christmas read to read together and buddy read, and she got to it first, and so she just happened to be the guinea pig, being the one of us who isn't that into crazy spice.
Traumatized.
Yeah, I can see that.
I had to I put the book down, and my fiance Alex, he just like had to hold me for a while. I was like what have I just read? And I got like 50% through it, and I was like, I'm gonna hate this, but I kept going because I was like, at least it'll be another book.
It was like a train wreck. You just had to keep watching.
Yeah.
And then
I scarred myself.
I was like, brilliant idea. Why don't you read this other one after this, and we'll all read it together? And it was about he's like a shifter Santa Claus, and he has a candy cane penis, and we didn't like that one either.
Oh,
not the spice.
She's very touchy about the monster romances.
Okay.
We
Okay.
learned things about each other during this adventure.
I think there's just a limit. Do you know what?
Okay.
Overall, I didn't hate it. I really liked the build up, and I liked the plot, and I liked the way that the characters were written. I liked the spice. What I didn't like was when he immediately started referring to himself in third person during sexy time, and I was like, no, I'm immediately out.
Yeah.
Like that's sent me.
That's fair. I mean, I was distracted by the toothpaste juices, so
Okay.
But Cal could call her anything, and she'd be gone, which we all feel about.
Same, honestly. He is my fave. I love him so much. I'm not supposed to say that he's my fave, but here we are.
Say whatever you want.
I mean, Pedro said that Daddy is a state of mind, but I just think it's Cal Michelson.
Yeah.
So
It does worry me that if I ever write another Daddy Kink romance, that no one is ever going to live up to Cal. It's the accent. I think a big part of it's the accent. Yeah.
That sent me, and I'm Irish.
Yes.
And I was like, yes, please.
I had to like I've had so many people be like, where can we find men like these? And I was like, not actually in Scotland and Ireland. They don't really exist there. It's just in the books.
They just don't really exist.
No,
Like, full
it's not the
stop.
same here. Yeah. Don't come looking for them. They're not here. Like,
Don't come to Scotland.
yeah, yeah.
For the men. Come to Scotland for anything else.
There's lots of great things here. It's not that though.
I'm going for you and the cows. So
Yeah,
The cows are great. Yeah. That's a
I'm
good
going to
shout.
take them to Pollock Park when they come up here.
Amazing.
I love
That was
cows.
so good. I love cows.
Yeah, Molly's excited.
I'm so excited.
She's so buzzed. She's so buzzed.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, let's chat about Legally Binding, because it's the only book that I've read yet, because I haven't had enough time to read the other ones. And so for anyone listening, Legally Binding is the first book in the Spicy in Seattle series, and it is about a lawyer, Cal, or Callahan. I was really, really, really glad that his name was Callahan, because whenever I saw Cal, I was really worried his name was going to be the name of my ex.
Oh no.
I panicked. But it wasn't. It was fine.
Excellent.
And so he is 50, 55, I think.
Yeah.
And then we have Maggie, who is his personal assistant. She is about half his age. She's 27. And she... Obviously, it's a romance. They fall in love. But she fancies him
We all
Yeah.
do.
from the very,
Yeah.
very, very start. And I don't know. Obviously, this is, for anyone listening, this is going to be a little bit spoiler filled. So,
Yeah.
without saying so much that Crimson gets it ruined for her,
Yeah,
there are going to be like little spoilers here or there. But she recently ends her long-term relationship. Also, he's a dick, by the way.
Yeah.
Hate him.
Worst.
And she decides that she's going to be like super laid back, and she's going to go out, and her friend takes her out, and they go to a sex show club place. And who does she run into?
Daddy.
But our hot older boss. I honestly, like, this book, to me, like, this book was perfect. The way that it started, I screamed. I was on a Discord call with Crimson, and I started this book, and I was like, the fact that she's sitting there being like, this would be a really good place to get laid. Like, this would be a really good place to pick someone up. Turns immediately to her right, and her boss is right there.
Yeah.
Lost it. It was so good. But where did the inspo for this book come from? Because I think age gap romances can be quite hard to write sometimes.
Yeah. So age gap is my favorite trope, and it's something, like you said, it can be quite hard to get it right, because sometimes it's icky. I'm not gonna lie, and a lot of that to me is often the age of the younger person. So I knew I wanted Maggie to be older, so she's like in her late 20s, which did then mean Cal had to be older. And I know for some people he's too old. That's cool. He's fine for me. I love it. But the inspiration came from the specific scene where she first calls him daddy by mistake. So I had this idea in my head of the character like accidentally calling someone daddy and him liking it, but I didn't quite have characters to fit it. And then I had COVID, and I talked about this a lot. And at this point, I'm going to have to say again, I was really horny when I had COVID. Weird symptom. Don't know where it came from. And Legally Binding was born. Genuinely.
I just
That's not on the NHS.
Yeah, it's happened twice. I don't know what's up with it, but it has happened twice. And it's just the weirdest symptom. And then literally a week after I had COVID, I sat down and started writing Legally Binding with very little planning. And yeah, that was that. Yeah.
Well, I think we can finally say thank God for COVID. Something good came out of it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the only thing I've heard of that
100%.
was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have like, did you have anyone in, because obviously with being like an age gap girly, did you have
Yeah.
any sort of, I don't want to say like celebrity crushes or anything in mind when you wrote Cal's character? Is there anyone that you like pictured at first?
Not really. I see someone in my head for Cal, but he doesn't exist. I have looked and I've tried to find him. The closest I've got actually is a stock image on the RSPB website, weirdly. And I did email them to ask if they could tell me who it was, and they didn't get back to me.
Who are you?
And
Yeah. It's the closest I've ever gotten.
It's giving in The Office when Michael finds the chair bottle.
Yes!
The castle.
exactly the chair model. Yes.
Yeah, so he is the closest man I've ever gotten. But I've never been able to put like a celebrity face to Cal. And I think it's just because in my head he's too perfect to be like a real man. Whereas like there's sometimes characters I do see like celebrities for, but he is just, there's no one compares other than apparently the guy, the stock image guy.
I do have a celebrity crush
Oh.
that's slightly older,
Please share.
and I have a real thing, and I can't believe I'm saying this online. I have this like undying love for Paul Hollywood from the Bake Off.
Oh
And
yeah,
that is
Yes,
all
I've
I could
before.
picture.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
I get it.
I was like, Daddy Brad is who I'm picturing.
Daddy Brett. Is it because he's grumpy?
No,
I don't know. He's really like, he's really strong and grumpy, and he's got really piercing eyes. And
Yeah.
if he looked at me, I'd be like puzzled.
I think when he looks at
get
most
it.
people, they want to pee their pants. So that's like
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
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 I feel like he's
Yeah.
very much the Nigella Lawson of like the baking world, because
Oh, yeah, so
she could get
true.
it.
Oh, she's so good. Nigella Lawson was one of my first crushes, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So
So what I actually really liked about this book is all the little, it's not just heavily focused around the romance. I feel like there's like little, I want to call them side quests, but they're not. They're like little other plot points that are happening, like Maggie sort of redoing the houses and then it turning into like a full-blown thing. And I love that it's really modern, because I feel like I love a cowboy romance, so I'm like really cowboy romancy. But the one thing I think it misses sometimes is a little bit of a grip on reality. So the fact that like we've got Maggie in this like building out a TikTok platform.
Cowboy romances aren't real.
You
I
tell
don't
me,
know,
Crimson.
no, you tell us.
No, they're not real. They're not. That's why I don't read them, because it's too fantastical for me.
Yeah, no, it's ruined.
Sorry.
But I
Yeehaw.
love all like the little like yeehaw, yeah. I
Wow,
just
you
love all
really
the little
hard
side
that.
quests. So I'm never living this down.
You're not.
For a side
I
note,
can confirm.
I one day just started randomly using yeehaw as a verb and
I don't
now
know.
an adjective. Like,
Every part of speech really
Yeah.
can yeehaw.
Okay. Yeah. If it makes
Yeah.
you feel better, the very first tattoo I got, which I still have because it's a tattoo, was Cowgirls Don't Cry on my wrist.
love it.
It's a great song. I cry more than anyone I know. And I also don't really do country music anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
It's a reminder.
Yeah.
You cry a lot, but you're so productive. It's fine.
Yeah.
The productive thing is,
Hit and miss.
sometimes
It's fine.
hit and miss.
we can sing it anyway, okay?
Yeah,
Fine.
exactly. Yeah.
Fine.
I also cry a lot in a medium amounts of production.
We're Delulu here. It's fine.
Love
Yeah.
to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I cried at work today because somebody asked me to do something when I was trying to do something else.
It's valid.
It's just the way it is, isn't
Yeah.
it? But yeah, I love all the little side bits, and I love that they very much have their own lives
Yeah.
as well as the romance that they have together, and I just think that's really nice. It's definitely like making my top 5 this year, 100%.
Thanks. That makes me so happy. I love seeing people find legally binding because I feel like towards the end of last year, everyone was talking about Naughty or Nice, which was really exciting. But a lot of people have gone back now, and nothing makes me happier than talking about legally binding, which is so rude to the rest of my books, and I do recognise that. But it is what it is.
I cannot wait to read the second one, but I just screamed the whole time. I mean, I want to say about 40% of it the night that Crimson and I were on call together, and I was just screaming every 5 minutes.
I
Like,
love that.
it was wonderful.
I think you're going to relate a lot to Jazz and some of the stuff.
Oh, I'm
that
so
she
sorry.
goes on with. I do too, it's fine.
Same. Jazz is one of those characters that so many people have messaged me to be like, I relate to Jazz, and I'm like, yeah, same. I'm really sorry to hear that. Like,
I'm sorry for your loss.
yeah, it's not what any of us want. But she gets her happy ending. So,
She
you know.
does. She does.
Yeah, this is why we do this.
She finds a boy that looks after
Well.
her good.
He does that.
He does.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah.
So actually, my topic is false confidence. So now that we're talking about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So I will be completely honest. I have unfortunately been slammed by life. So I'm dying to read your books, but I haven't gotten to yet. But like they're like literally next on the list. I cannot wait because they
Thank
sound
you.
like perfection. But I know that this is a sequel.
Yeah.
And that you're following Jazz and Liam, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw that it's fake dating. I saw the premise, which is basically like they have a one night stand and then they do a fake dating thing. And what I was really interested in is one, like is it difficult to write sequels because like you have to go back to that same world that you've fully crafted based on one set of characters and then like revisit it from a different lens. So like, is there anything in particular that's difficult or that you have to think about when you're trying to make sure like you don't write the like, because for me when I'm writing fanfic, I don't read books, but when I read fanfic, like the characters are so tied to the world they're in a certain way.
Yeah.
And the world is shaped by them. So like, what is it like diving back into a world from a different perspective?
So I had two experiences, one being false confidence and one being the book I'm writing now, which is the third in the series. And false confidence was admittedly one of the worst experiences of my life. I've been really open about this. It was so hard to write. It was genuinely the hardest thing I think I have ever written and probably will ever write. And they say that a lot about second books, to be fair. I've heard that pretty across the board. And part of it is there's so much pressure because these characters exist in a world in which other characters have main character energy. And you can't have that many characters with main character energy. It's really hard. So I also have a terrible memory. So a lot of it was like going back and trying to remember what I'd actually written. And like there was one point and I got like almost to the very end, like arc time for false confidence, and suddenly realised that I'd given Maggie from book one a peanut butter old fashioned at one point, but in book one she has a peanut allergy.
Oh no.
Like things like that are really tricky that you don't catch. Whereas now, because I'm writing the third book, it feels a lot easier. I feel like you have to just like get through the weeds in the second book and then it gets easier. But false confidence was an incredibly difficult book to write. I almost quit so many times and I'm glad I didn't. It's the book I'm most proud of. But it was my first time properly diving in and doing a sequel, because in the past it had been a sequel I'd done, but it was like a continuous trilogy, so it's not like different characters. And trying to kind of squeeze these new characters into the same world, but also you're having to see the previous situation. So in the previous book, we end up with a couple with a 28-year age gap. And what does that look like now? Because that's something we don't often see, is like what happens after. And like it's a pretty awkward thing, and I just didn't shy away from it. I really leaned into the awkwardness, and that did help. I think if I'd tried to ignore it, that would have been really, really hard.
Now I'm dying to read this a little more. Okay.
Well, I guess a peanut butter old fashioned for somebody with a peanut allergy that has main character energy is one way to get rid of somebody with main character energy.
So true. Yeah.
You can just hear them out.
Yeah.
It's an option.
Yeah. And like I'm really careful now whenever I give characters allergies. I like put big notes in places because I'm so stressed about it. 'Cause, like, what were the odds that that's the old fashioned I would pick?
Can't
Yeah.
eat nuts. Can't eat
It's
those
also like
nuts.
not a super typical either. Like, well, yeah. There's a certain kind of nut that's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
The
Probably too,
Irish
depending on-
the Irish nut latte. That's
You said you didn't want to read Morning Glory Milking Farm. I mean, come on.
You should. It's so good.
See, everybody says it.
So good.
So I'll maybe add it to the list. It kind
It's
of
so
the idea of it scares
wholesome.
me.
It is.
Like, it doesn't sound it, but it's just so wholesome and cozy.
We are trying so hard. Like we started too deep, and we're trying so hard to pull Emmy into Monster Romance from the cozy side, and it's just,
Okay.
it's not working.
Yeah.
So hard, but we're trying. We're trying.
It was my first monster romance, and it was like it really got me into it. So
I'll maybe
Do
give it a
recommend.
go. I'll add it to the list.
Okay, the other question I had is, I know it's fake dating, and fake dating is one of those things where, like, it's not a super realistic
Yeah.
scenario, right? And so what I'm curious about is, like, how do you decide that fake dating is going to be the thing that's right for these characters to get together?
So fake dating was never the original intention. It was the fake orgasms. So I had this idea that she was gonna fake orgasms, she was gonna fake being happy, and then I was like, well, obviously we have to throw some fake dating in there, like the three fakings. And so the book was actually the original title was Faking It. And I changed it because there's a lot of books called Faking It.
Yeah.
But it is something that I find really hard to like suspend my disbelief for with fake dating. And so when I was sitting planning, I was like, I'm gonna cut this off. I'm not gonna let them be fake dating the whole book, because I feel like when you do, there's always a point where you're like, we know how this is going to end. So they were fake dating like a very like specific circumstance. And I kind of used that to transition, like push off into something else that was also fake. And that's where the idea came from. It was just it all came from the faking orgasms. So that was the spark.
I love the
Fake
idea
dating.
of having a book that's just centered around the concept of faking orgasms.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's often like thrown into a book, like, oh, she was faking it and now she doesn't have to, but it's not usually like a major plot point.
Yeah.
So if anyone doesn't know, Jazz is kind of a hot mess. Like in
What
like
a polite way of putting it.
she's a hot mess. She's definitely the polar opposite of Maggie, who kind of has a plan and an Excel document for everything. And Jazz comes from like a really fucked up family. That's pretty much the way that we put it. And she has spent her whole life pretending that she just doesn't care. She doesn't have a care in the world, that she's fun, she's chaotic, and that she can have an orgasm.
Yeah.
And Liam is the son of Cal, as we said, Maggie's husband, and he's wanted Jazz since he first saw her when he walked into his father's office. And he's recently lost everything. His girlfriend, the woman he grew up with and thought was the love of his life, and cheated on him with his best friend. Right before he was going to propose as well. He's lost his dream job at like the most ideal place he ever wanted to work at, and he thinks his life's over until he sees Jazz, and everything is changed. And he ends up having a one-night stand with Jazz at his dad's wedding, of all places.
Love it.
And
that's the place to do it. I mean,
and despite the fact that you know, her friendship with both Maggie and Cal means that she'll grow closer to him, their kind of friendship starts to get deeper, I suppose the best way to put it. And that's what leads Jazz to it's the stash. That's what leads Jazz to agree to be his fake partner at his ex and former best friend's wedding. And that kind of like kicks everything off.
Yeah. So that was like one of the first things that I knew as I wanted them to go to the wedding, because I had this scene in my head of Jazz saying she's watching, as in like his ex, you should kiss me, and him saying, I'll kiss you, but it's not for that. And I had this scene in my head for so long, and like writing it was the best feeling. And I hate writing weddings. I will like say up front, I hate writing them. I will avoid writing them where I can. But it was worth it to get that scene.
That's a wonderful segue, though, to keep the fact that one, you immediately know how much time has passed from the first book to the second, because them getting married is like very not quick, but it happens like in the same sort of very sort of similar timeline. And then it also keeps it very much in the way that anyone who reads it clearly really wanted to see them get married. So you're giving them that little snippet that you want, but also introducing this new thing that comes off the back of it. And I think that's really well done. It's a very good segue.
Thanks.
Sophie just kind of creates unrealistic expectations of men. Like, let's face it. Like, Liam, despite the stash, not saying I don't love the stash, I love a good stash, but it's a very hard-hitting problem with your readers. Like, there are so many people that hate the stash.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I love facial hair of all kinds, and so I wanted to write a man with a mustache, and my author friend Emily hates it. She refuses to acknowledge the mustache. Anytime I send her any art with the mustache, she's just refusing to acknowledge it.
Oh my gosh.
I am not a facial hair girly, but I don't understand people being upset. Like, I just pretend it's not there. It's fine. It's like not a.
It doesn't come up like a ton. Liam has
my
weirder
head anyway. I could
qualities.
pet it,
Yeah.
you know?
Like, Liam has weirder qualities, I feel, than the mustache. Like, no one complained about the mirrors on the ceiling. I thought people would complain about those. But no, it's just the mustache people hate. So
Interesting.
He reads smut on a Kindle.
he does.
He reads smut on a
Perfect man.
Kindle. He is
I
perfect.
can forgive a mustache. That's fine.
See?
That's
Told
fine.
you.
He's all of us. He reads the smut in the Kindle, but he still buys the paperbacks for his shelf.
He does.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But unrealistic expectations, so if it's not fair. And then you've just
Sorry.
did it again at Christmas with Naughty or Nice. And I was gone, okay? Like everybody knows that I am a whore for Christmas. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like call me tinsel tits, okay? Like I love Christmas. And she comes out with a novella,
Well, that's perfect.
right? She
For
comes
you,
out
that's the most perfect nickname.
She comes out with a novella where the female main character hates Christmas, but because she is the best friend in the whole world, she agrees to come and be a Santa photographer for her family friend's toy store. And she has to go back to this town that loves Christmas, Christmas. And she's kind of back to where she was she was trying to escape, let's face it. And she finds herself having to dress up like a Christmas elf
Yes.
to take pictures of children with Santa. And the Santa is a smoke show. He is quite possibly the
that.
hottest Santa you've ever seen in your life. And his name is Henry. He's a climatologist. Like, he's a man with a degree. And he's like, I will come home. I will help and be Santa for the family's toy store. That's fine. We can do that. And she ends up falling for him. It's another age gap, and it's stunning. It's gorgeous. It's everything. And it's made so many people realize that they like Santa.
Yeah.
They really like Santa.
This is my legacy. This is what I was trying to do.
Did people not already know? Oh.
Apparently not. Like, I didn't get it. Like, I thought everyone was into Santa. Apparently not.
I mean, I may or may not have Mrs. Claus lingerie. I'm just saying.
You
Amazing.
icon.
Yeah.
I
But I should have written that in the book.
Santa to be like old grandpa fat man vibes. Like I don't think I ever fancied Santa. Guys.
Babe.
No,
Just you wait.
That's just bad propaganda put out there by, I don't know, non-Santas.
Yeah.
Big corporations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
they
Santa's
kind
hot for sure.
Oh, and Henry is hot. Henry is
hot, yeah.
And they decide to, you know, stay together for a little bit while he's in town and she's in town, and have a festive fling that they kind of think, okay, we'll just be together while we're both here, but that does not go well.
No.
Uh-oh.
Right out the window.
Yeah.
So what was your inspo for this one? Because it's a fave.
So, if I'm being honest, I just really wanted to write a Santa book. I have wanted to write a Santa book for so long, and I had an idea to write. I think it was originally 3 or 4 Christmas romances set in this town that would all be age gaps. And I'm still writing. They're just not all going to be Christmas now. They're all still going to be age gaps. And I was like, I have to start with the Santa one because that's what I'm most excited to write. And then the rest of the inspiration came from "'Tis the Damn Season" by Taylor Swift. And this idea, like the line, "I'm staying at my parents' house," because her parents aren't there, but she's staying there and she's in her childhood bed, and it just like she's stuck somewhere she doesn't want to be for the holidays. So yeah, those kind of 2 things meshed together, and Naughty or Nice was born. And it was another COVID book, so you know.
Wow. We all know what happens when you have.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh man! So
Amazing.
Aurora is named after an Aurora Borealis, and it
Yes.
turns out that specific aurora borealis ends up being what connects them, and it's like the sweetest thing ever.
It's my fave, and it wasn't planned. It's the entire book was planned except for that moment where Henry realizes, spoilers, sorry, but they realize that the first aurora borealis Henry ever saw was at the moment Rora was born, which is creepy when you think about the age gap. But if you take that out of it, it's cute.
That's really cute.
And he
That's
paints.
so sweet.
Like, not only does he buy her like this super high techie camera when hers breaks, he paints her camera bag with the most beautiful art, and it has an aurora borealis on it, and
Aww.
he is such a sweetheart.
He really is.
That is so
Adorable.
sweet.
Yeah. There's so much more of Henry that I'm excited to show in the series because he is just going to get sweeter, and I'm so excited about that.
Is it to do with what I think it's to do about?
Like the thing that happens right at the end, we are
the
going to
thing
see.
that happens right at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Oh,
Everyone,
so
you
excited.
two need to get on it.
Okay, I will read it. When I finish the book that I'm reading right now, I will read another.
Good. What was your favorite part about Naughty or Nice? I have to know.
Like the writing or the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Honestly, the release, and I've never said that before because I find releases really stressful, but this was the nicest release, and I think it's because I love Christmas. So,
Yeah.
just having an excuse to talk about Christmas and get to do Christmassy things, but there's also, I don't know if, you would remember, but, in the lead up to Naughty and Nice, when it was, coming out, we went through a spell in the UK where there were aurora borealises every 5 minutes.
We did, yeah.
And it was, the coolest
Wow.
thing. I remember, it was the night before False Confidence came out. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, so False Confidence was officially out. It had just made a major headway in Naughty or Nice, and I got an alert on my phone to say there was an aurora borealis, and it was the first time I'd ever seen one. And I just sat and sobbed because I was like, I feel like I'm making the right decision by writing this book. And then they just continued through the entire release cycle. They were just left, right, and center. So that was really fun. But
Just
That is really cool.
it really came through.
That is quite literally the invisible string. That is amazing.
Yeah. I had my own personal invisible string with this book, and it was after False Confidence, which I love that book, don't get me wrong, but Naughty or Nice reminded me that I like writing. And I needed that. I needed to do something fun. It's the least heavy book I've written. The characters aren't particularly traumatized, which was fun in the moment, and now I'm really happy. Yeah, I know. I'm so happy to be back to traumatizing characters, but in the moment it was fun. It's what I needed at the time.
What has
Did
been...
you write it?
Go for it, Amy.
Did you write it at Christmas time, or did you write it in the middle of the summer or something?
Yeah, I wrote it in July, and I put my Christmas tree up because it was really hard to get in the mood.
That's fun.
I love that you went I need to set the scene. And put my Christmas tree up.
It's like method acting, but it's writing.
Yeah. And I would sit here in my day job at my work meetings with important people, and they'd be like, is that a Christmas tree? And I'd have to explain that I was writing a Santa Count romance book in the middle of July.
Oh my god. I could not imagine explaining.
Yeah.
Great. I love it.
I remember in the street team group chat, we had all the updates. We had when the tree went up, but then we also had the sad moment where she pulled the Christmas tree down.
Yeah. I was so happy to be rid of that Christmas tree. I can't lie. It was up for 6 months. And thankfully, my next wintry book, actually, no, it's also going to be written this summer, so it's probably going back up again.
Oh.
Destined to have a summer tree. Yeah.
Once upon a time, I had a 8-foot tall banana plant in my house, and I used it as a Christmas tree one year just by wrapping big lights around it. So you could do that. You could get a tropical plant and then just put Christmas lights on it, and then be like, "Oh, it's Christmas in Hawaii!"
Yeah, I love that. I might have to, because the tree it takes up so much space.
Yeah,
there's so much space.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene? Actually, I was going to say what was your favorite scene from Naughty and Nice, but what is your favorite scene from each of your books that are released?
I'm going to give a different answer than I've ever given before, because I never remember what I've said before when people ask me this. So, the rule of 3, my favorite scene is there's a moment where Tessa has a final phone call with her ex, and it was such a big moving on moment. And it was a very late edition. It was one of the last scenes I wrote, and it felt like it really brought her character full circle. And so I'd say that's probably my favourite there. I love a trauma moment, let's be honest.
So anything traumatic, yeah.
Yeah, I am who I am. Legally binding. Probably the epilogue. The epilogue at the lighthouse. I really struggled to write it, but it was my first time writing something like quite so like traditionally romancy, if that makes sense, like without spoilers. So it was the perfect happy ending for them, I felt. Especially right at the end when it kind of comes back to Maggie meeting Cal's family for the first time. So I really enjoyed that. False confidence. Oh, we're getting spicy. It's the shower scene. So Jazz gets a tattoo for Liam, and he sees it and he goes a bit feral. And I
Okay,
really
I'm
enjoyed
immediately
that.
picking this up. I might pick this up tonight because like that is like my dream.
I'm just waiting for you to text me when you read what the tattoo is of. So
I
Yeah.
am going to download it onto my Kindle right now.
It was such a last minute plan as well, because it was when I was writing planning Maggie and Cal's extended epilogue, and Maggie gets a tattoo for Cal, and I was like, this seems like something Jazz would do too. So I had to throw that in there. So yeah, the shower scene, which I have had illustrated, I'm going to be like sharing the art soon. I'm very excited. It's so good. And then Naughty or Nice. Again, spicy, it's the car scene. It was the first scene I thought of, where Henry is getting her off in the car while driving down the highway. Yeah. And I have so many people that are like, this is unsafe. And I had a beta reader be like, you should take this out, it's unsafe. And I was like, no, I know.
don't care.
That's why it's fun.
It's fiction. It's okay.
Like,
Nobody
this is the point. So yeah, I think those are my favourites for now.
I have just downloaded
She's
the Rule
done
of
it.
Three, False Confidence, and Naughty or
thanks.
Nice
Oh, wow.
onto my Kindle.
Wow, that's
so
speedy.
Diving. All right. I love it.
it's happening.
head first.
I can't get into the book I'm reading right now. I may as well swap something else.
May as well, man.
Yeah.
What character do you think you relate to most? I have to ask before we move on to the next part.
From like all books or
Yeah.
yeah. I always say that I feel like the best of me went to River and the worst of me went to Maggie and Cal. No, not Maggie and Cal, Maggie and Jazz.
Yeah.
There's no worse than Cal.
No.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
feel
one
like
better than him also. Like,
I feel like Maggie, the very kind of like type A, organized, does super stubborn, doesn't listen to anyone, is very me. And the chaos and the crying for Jazz is very me. The crying especially. Big on that one. Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
big crier too, so I relate.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Generally, like the music swelled in like a kid's movie, and I'm sobbing.
sobbing. Yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
same.
I feel like I make it worse though. Like I'm writing the third act at the moment, and I've just been sitting listening to like sad songs on repeat to just somehow make it worse for myself. I'm just sitting sobbing trying to write.
So you're gonna kill me? Excellent.
Oh, it's really gonna kill you.
Oh no.
This
So-
might be the saddest I've written.
We will just send out new podcast host job applications in advance so that when Molly dies and we have her funeral, we can replace. Would you like the job, Sophie?
Yeah.
Honestly, it might kill me too. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, great. Okay.
Emi's already established that she's gonna go off and start her own podcast because she thinks she can do it better on her own.
That's very sure.
This is because you put Throne of Glass in the bin.
Love you.
Because it belongs in the bin. Okay. Like
Oh man.
That's controversial.
This is ongoing. Yeah.
not the whole series, just the one book. But
And not
Just
Throne
the
of
one
Glass
book.
in general. We should probably say that we're playing Fuck, Marry, Kill with
yeah.
like
Okay.
books. And
Right.
Grayson was like, "Fuck Throne of Glass," like.
But not actually like put it in the like kill it like it's
Yeah,
that's the one
yeah.
that I chose to. So
Okay.
we were doing a romance episode and we were doing an episode where it was like fuck marry kill, but instead of choosing characters we chose the whole book like as a vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was really fun, but like she gave me like an obvious answer if I would just kill Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh,
I
actually,
feel like I need to know what the other options were before I know if this was a good call.
it
Akatar-
was
Akatar
and
and
Fourth
Fourth
Wing.
Wing.
Okay, I think it was the wrong call. I'm not gonna lie, but you do you.
Thank you.
What would you
Akatar
kill?
for me was the kill.
Same.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I can't kill anything with reason.
Love it.
No.
I can't.
Reese,
Sophie and I are starting the new
Yeah.
podcast.
No comments on Reese.
Because it was the book and not the and also I love Throne of Glass as a series, but to be honest, I did not vibe with the first book really. Like I found it very like mid. So it's because I'm not a YA girly really. I need like I need it to get like real intense for me to like dig into YA. Yeah.
I have an interesting question. Speaking
Oh
of
no.
fuck, marry, kill.
Oh God.
We will
Sophie.
Oh God.
This is your fault, Molly.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, no.
The rule of 3, legally
no.
binding, and naughty or nice.
Oh no.
Oh. See, if you put false confidence in, it was so easy. I'm gonna have to kill the rule of 3 because I love it so much. But like, I love it so much, but it's put me through a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I would fuck naughty or nice and kill. No, marry legally binding because I feel like legally binding has more longevity because it's not a Christmas book. You know, that's my logic there.
That is
very
a
logical.
logical answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
When we play this game, there's no logic
No.
involved. It's-
Yeah. Like, I
Oh,
think
dear.
at one point Molly was marrying the Weaver because she might have a good book collection.
That's valid. Yeah, I get
So,
that. Yeah.
Molly
We
was into
have
the
logic, but
trinkets,
the
yeah.
logic is in a totally different universe.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's the nerve spicy in me. I have to think things through in probably
Same.
like a non-conventional manner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best impromptu round of.
Loved it.
So fun.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Good.
throwing it out there.
I have a much more serious question to ask. There's no
Okay.
good way to segue from what we just did to this.
Okay.
Which is, since you're an indie author, to anyone listening who has loved stories their whole life and who is thinking about taking the plunge and trying to actually write the book that they know they have in them, what if you could give them like one piece of encouragement or advice, what would it be?
I always say you have to be the biggest fan of your own book. I have a lot of amazing readers and no one will ever love my books as much as me. And that's so important because you're going to spend so much time with those books and so much time with those characters that if you don't really, really love it, I think readers can tell. I've certainly read books from authors where I feel like, I feel like the author didn't really want to write this, or myself, I've written things where I'm like, I have to go back. Like, that's not the best I can give it. And at the end of the day, like, even if no one ever reads your book, you want to really love it, and so you have to be a regular cheerleader. And it's hard because imposter syndrome is out there, but you have to really, really love what you're doing.
Wow. Yeah.
I feel like that's just everything in life, but it's
Regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's true. You have to be your own biggest fan.
Yeah.
To succeed.
Absolutely.
That's straight to the heart.
It's really good
That
advice.
saved us all some therapy for a little while. That's great.
Yeah.
I still highly encourage therapy.
Still need therapy though.
I'm gonna tell my psychiatrist we don't have to talk about it next week. We had it. Yeah.
Save you some pennies.
I'm good. Just send me the prescription. I'm already doing the work. I promise.
You did
No
your
homework's been
this week,
completed.
Crimson. Pat yourself on the back, girl.
You know, last week he didn't even want to hear about my homework. It was so annoying.
And you actually took the time to do it last week.
I really did. I really did. Yeah. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with my therapist. It's a thing. It's fine.
I think I fancy Crimson's therapist.
Oh.
She's never seen him before.
Is he hot?
Yeah, he's pretty cute.
Okay.
He's very I live in France. I'm in Paris, and he whatever you imagine a French therapist looks like in like a movie, it's this guy. Like he's always wearing a turtleneck. He's got these like little adorable glasses with these very like empathetic like puppy dog eyes. Like it's kind of crazy, but also he's very French and I can never tell if he's tricking me or like he's very
I get that.
He's exactly what I always like. I've always gone to psychologists and not psychiatrists, and now I'm going to a psychiatrist and he's exactly what I always thought psychiatrists were like.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. Yeah.
But
I feel like I can picture him perfectly, though. I love it.
yeah, you're probably picturing the exact thing I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard. Like, one time I went and he was wearing the same turtleneck but with a red leather jacket. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. Like, it's
I would not
That's
be
hot.
able to pay any attention to this man.
Yeah.
Like, and what he's fixing my brain. I'm trying to like fix his bed sheets. Like, like
Speak French to me.
Yeah.
I
feel like if you suddenly see like a male main character pop up in my books with a turtleneck and a leather jacket, just mind your business. It's all good.
yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, it's fine.
Girl goes to the psychiatrist and they fuck.
literally just thought that.
That's the plot.
I've never had a hot psychiatrist, so I don't know if I could do that.
Do you know, I read a Bella Carlisle fan fiction with that plot.
See, this is where the hot Bella Carlisle thing comes from, though, because it's like in Eclipse when he's like being
works,
doctory.
man. Yeah.
You know, it's so hot.
I'll send it to you guys later. It's okay.
We are doing the Twilight reread at the moment,
Oh,
and I am not having a good time.
She's
no.
never read it before.
She's not.
oh.
We did Twilight, and now we still have to start, but she's on Midnight Sun, and
Oh, I didn't read Midnight Sun. I didn't hear good things, and I did.
Oh, highly recommend, honestly.
Really?
I put you on my
unhinged.
Twilight shrine and everything.
It's so unhinged. Like, everything, like, okay, what I love about Twilight is like what I love about Midnight Sun is she didn't write this until like 2019. It released in 2019.
Yeah.
She had been hearing for years how messed up Edward is, how toxic he is.
Yeah.
She had the perfect opportunity to go back and retcon him as like a nicer thing than he is. And she doubled down so hard. He is so nuts and
Oh, I love
emo
that.
He's
and, like, angsty.
insufferable.
Okay.
Do you know
He's
that
an
when they
icon.
were in the meadow, when Bella is sitting there like, oh, I want to kiss him, he is like counting the insects that he can hear because of his crazy supersonic hearing while he's attempting not to murder her. Like, it's amazing.
I mean, that's
That
nice
is
of him, I
not-
suppose.
That is
now-
not the wildest part of that.
Can you
The
also
wildest part,
It is not.
like,
can you also imagine though, because they're there, can you imagine like Emmett and Jasper like trying
That's,
to count
like-
and messing him up with his counting? Like
because by the way, Emmett, they're there so that they can attempt to stop him if he tries to kill her, and
Oh.
we never find that out in Twilight. We find
No, that ruins the vibe. I don't love that. Like,
yeah, but
yeah.
it's so great because he literally, and every time that she does something totally stupid and she's like not caring about her personal preservation, he in his head is like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl and why am I in love with her, but also I'm in love with her. Like, he can't deal. Like, it's great.
You are selling me on it. I've been avoiding it because I've heard that it just like doesn't live up, and to me, nothing lives up to the fan fiction. You know?
no.
Well,
but-
it's not going. It can't. I know.
Yeah.
See, I think the fact that we do get to see so much behind the scenes, like from Emmett and Jasper,
Mm.
and my fanfic brain definitely goes and like creates my own like stories and like scenarios, because I was just
Yeah.
literally like you were obviously just talking about Emmett and Jasper being there, and all I can think of, when he's going like everything about me draws you in, I can imagine like Emmett mocking and going, everything about me draws
Yeah.
And to be fair, now that I know that like makes me want to pick up more because I'm a big Emmett girly. I used to go around as like a 13-year-old with a Team Emmett t-shirt on all the time. Loved it.
Yeah, so like a thing that I didn't sort of like, I kind of knew but didn't totally pick up on until I read Midnight Sun is that because of the way Edward's mind reading works, because it's just like unfiltered, he can hear you. Like and because their hearing is so phenomenal, they can hear what's going on with him and Bella like most of the time, or when anywhere they're in the vicinity, and then they are thinking in their head to talk to him because they know that he can hear them. So they're communicating with him constantly, and so like they're just probably in his head like just trolling him all the time.
No wonder he's so grumpy, honestly. That sounds exhausting.
I mean, the Barbie Girl like song on repeat for like 3 days straight is 100% something that's happened.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like,
Alice might be the most unhinged one because he has to deal with her going, like he can hear and see like everything that she's experiencing.
Yeah.
And so like she like will sit there and meticulously go through like every little, like she's very type A about it. And so it like I would just go nuts if I was Edward, I think.
Yeah, it's not a power I would
He
want
is nuts.
ever.
He is nuts.
Yeah.
He did go nuts.
He's a nut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of driving us nuts, can you tell us anything about your work in progress, specifically about Undearly Beloved? Because I need to know the tea. Okay.
So we're getting there. It's like close to being done-ish. It is Sapphic, Marriage of Inconvenience, Accidentally Married in Vegas. They hate each other. They're roommates. And
Neighbor roommate.
I'm writing this book and I'm like, what's happening? And all I can think of is she wears a collar. And that's literally all I've got
Yes,
for you.
that's all I needed.
I'm so hooked. Yeah.
There's a leash involved at some point. It's a lot. Yeah.
Mommy, sorry. Mommy. Sorry.
That's the vibe.
I love Marriage of Convenience so much because it's another one of those things where it's like, that's not real, but it's so fun and it allows the characters to act in ways that are crazy because you would.
Yeah. It's so unhinged. And I spent so much time researching, in general this series, I spent a lot of time on legal websites, like figuring out how law works. And it wasn't necessary to the stories, for the record. I just, for some reason, did it. But for this one, it was like a bit more necessary that I had to learn a bit about like how marriage law and inheritance law and all these things. And it just seems, because they get married in Vegas, there really are no rules. You can just kind of do what you want. It's absolutely unhinged. So yeah, it's not me. Like I'm a very like planner person. So the thought of doing that is really stressful. So it was fun to write because I'm not involved in it, you know?
Were you getting like secondhand anxiety?
Constantly. Honestly, these characters constantly.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm American and I don't know if everybody else has the same perception we do, but like in the US, like the concept behind getting married in Vegas is like this incredibly reckless thing because we know that like you can get stuck so easy. Like you can have if you don't annul it immediately. Yeah. So it's this thing where like it's not only this like crazy drunken thing people do, it's also like that's wild.
There's a lot to it, and I had to look up the annulment process because they go to get it annulled, but there's a really long wait, so they just don't. So they start, but like it's the annulment process. If you don't get done there, is like so stressful. So it's been a lot of legal stuff. But it's a really I've gone back to my trauma, which is so fun because I missed out with Not Your Nice, and like it's. Rose is just a really sad character. So Rose is Jazz's sister, and so she has the same family as Jazz, as things tend to happen, and she's dealing with the fallout of Jazz's family, I guess. And so she's just a really sad character, and that has been, not to sound unhinged, but really fun to write. She's getting happier, which is the whole point, but she's also still really sad, and I enjoy that. This makes me sound insane as I'm saying it.
It's all good. We have parent issues. It's all good.
We do, yeah. I told myself I wasn't going to do it for this book, and the parent issues were over, and I lied. So,
yeah, I'm a Hermione girly, so sad family topics is pretty much my favorite crap to read. So,
me and Crimson are constantly trauma bonding. It's great.
Oh my god, we're always talking about our mommy issues.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of those here, and they're not resolved here. They are still going over into the next book, because the next book is the brother, and I thought maybe I'd resolve them here, but no, they're carrying over. So,
I love it.
Great,
love it.
I'll bill you for my therapy. Is there anything that you can tell us about Undearly Beloved that you haven't told anyone yet? Is there anything that we can know in advance before everyone else?
It's a great question. I'm like, what is this book? This is the first time I've ever like started talking about it before I finished it, and it's really stressful. So I'm like, what if I change stuff? So if I change anything, don't quote me on it. They have pet rabbits. That's exciting. Yeah, they get pet rabbits.
I love it.
I'm a rabbit person. I'm not anymore because my rabbits sadly passed away, but I have made it my life's mission to prove to people that they should not have rabbits because they're the hardest pets in the entire world to keep alive. They have a death wish. They don't want to be alive.
Everyone who has rabbits says that about them, actually.
They're a nightmare.
They are so hard to keep alive. And my rabbit lived till 11, and it was hard getting there. So I knew I wanted to write rabbits into this book, and so I gave them pet rabbits. Yeah. The tiniest wee thing. Yeah. It's my least spicy book by far, which is controversial. They don't even kiss until 45%, which, considering False Confidence has a spicy scene in the prologue, is unusual for me.
Girl, you just said there was a collar.
There is a collar.
This was something I said to Crimson, I think, initially, was in Legally Binding, in like the blurby synopsis bit, it's like, you know, a one night stand. I was like, this one night stand doesn't happen till like 40% into the book, by the way. And
there's this chapter 8, I think they have their one night stand in chapter 8 in Legally Binding, and that was, at the time, like, that felt really late to me. And then this is now like, this is the slowest of slowest burns I've ever done. It's not a slow burn, don't get me wrong, but for me it's a slow burn by my standards. Which was, I was like, how do I fill the time here? Like, what are they gonna do in the meantime? You know, like, talk.
Crochet.
Believe it or not, that is actually a plot point in the next book. The crocheting.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, we have a Liam from False Confidence and Jazz's brother have like a wee crochet club in the next book. So it's really cute.
That's so sweet.
My husband crochets, so the representation of boys who crochet, like,
I love it.
icons.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cute.
I keep forgetting that Isaac crochets. He promised us little dragons.
He's making us dragons, I promise. And he's like, he makes like little dinosaurs and stuff. It's so cute.
That's
So
sweet.
cute. I love that.
What else is on the horizon? Do we have anything?
So we do. I more or less have my next year planned out. So Dearly Unbeloved for now. Hopefully coming out in July. And then at least one, possibly two more books this year, and those will both be Wintermore books. So Noelle and Shay's book is coming up after, and that is like an autumnal rival bakers to lovers. A big year for sapphic books for me. And then the book after that in the Wintermore series is Shay's brother. His name's Nico. And he's like a grumpy, reclusive mountain man. And he is with his best friend's daughter. So
Is this the lumberjack? Please tell me this is the lumberjack.
Yes, this is the lumberjack.
Oh my god.
So yeah, he is snowed in a mountain cabin with his best friend's daughter, and she is a pilot with a fear of flying. So she's like really happy to just like be hidden away. And that one is gonna be spicy. Like, I think that one's gonna be like a big like free use kind of vibe. So yeah, that's the plan for this year, but we'll see how it goes.
I feel like if you do like snowed in on a mountain, it has to be spicy.
It
like,
has to be
just,
so spicy.
So spicy. Everyone I've
Exactly.
read. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am going to be inconsolable. I am so excited.
It's going to be a good year.
Insufferable.
Hopefully. Yeah. And I have the alternate paperback for False Confidence coming as well, actually. I keep forgetting about that. It is coming, and there's pegging in the bonus chapter. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Yay. So if you're watching, she does some amazing covers with alternate covers, which are a bit more discreet than the snogging on the desk.
Yeah, the ass grab.
Yeah, excellent. So I'm so excited for that.
Thanks. There is going to be one for Dearly Unbeloved as well. It's going to come at the same time though, because I know a lot of people can't read queer books like openly. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that there was like a discreet cover from the get-go for that one.
Oh, that's great.
Where can everyone buy your books? Where is the best place for everyone to get things from you?
Really unpopularly, probably Amazon is the best place for most people. I do also have an Etsy store that is opening March 22nd. It's going to reopen, where I'll have signed copies, and I'm going to have new prints, potentially an alternate paperback, hopefully, if all goes to plan. So yeah, that'll be open in March. And then paperbacks are available pretty much everywhere, like Waterstones, Barnes & Noble, all of the above.
Nice.
Do we have more stickers? Because we love a good sticker.
I am working on stickers. I need to do False Confidence stickers. Probably Brie is going to get a wee sticker. So New sticker, new bookmark is the plan. But I need to finish writing this book so that I can actually do this. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Oh man. Well,
it has been, just looking at the time, I think we have two. But
oh wow, yeah, this has been a long one.
yeah,
that's what she said.
well, I hope not just that. I mean,
No,
yeah,
Garth is important.
Girthy as well.
too.
Yeah, arguably more important.
Yeah.
All dimensions are valid.
All dimensions matter.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh,
Emmy's
it
blushing.
It has been an absolute dream having you on the pod. Yeah, I mean, my face hurts. I've been smiling so much. So
yeah.
yeah,
Thanks, guys. I've had so much fun.
Yeah,
We will have to have you back when you've released a couple more.
100%.
So I think to sign us off, something we normally do at the beginning, but we were so excited to talk to you that we skipped it, is we usually just talk about what we have been reading this week. So I think it might be good to go around and start with Sophie. So in order to say goodbye, what have you been reading and what are you going to read this week?
So I'm currently not reading because I'm writing, but I just finished Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and it changed my life. Outstanding, incredible. I think it comes out, I actually don't even know when it comes out. That's awful. March, April, something like that.
It's April. I am like waiting for it. Like,
Emmy is green with envy right now.
like, I love Emily Henry, and
It's
I
so
just
good.
like. I take it you got the arc then. Did you get
I did,
a
so-
physical or a NetGalley copy?
No, I got a NetGalley copy, but I read an arc for Beach Read way back in the day, like when Beach Read came out. And ever since then, I've never asked, but they've just sent me arcs for all of the other books. And I'll take
That's
them.
amazing.
I've never
Emmy's
asked.
like, you
I
only
just,
live
like-
20 minutes away. I'm
I'm trying to calculate. I'm gonna be like, I'm coming to your house immediately. Like,
Yeah.
You're
if you
gonna
look
love
out
it though.
your
It's
window
so
right-
good.
Look out your window right now. I'm right there. Like,
You're already there.
Emmy is
Look
our
at you,
resident Emily
breathing.
Henry fan. Yeah.
You're gonna love it though, honestly. It's so what's your favourite Emily Henry?
so I really did initially love Book Lovers because that was the first one that I read, and nothing
Okay.
compared to that for a while. And then Funny Story came out.
Okay.
I love Daphne
Yeah.
and Miles.
So good.
I
You're
think
gonna
they're
love
my
this one
favorite
then.
couple so far.
For sure. I feel like there's Emily Henry pairings. And I feel like this one is for, I would say, the Beach Read, Book Lovers, Funny Story readers.
Love.
So I think
Yeah.
you're gonna love this one.
I'm
So
so
obviously you're hardcore writing at the moment, but do you have anything on the horizon that you're going to be reading?
Probably the new Elsie Silver book that comes out the 4th
Wild
of March or
Side.
something. Yes.
Yeah,
Very
I'm supposed to about that
excited.
too.
So excited for that one.
Crimson,
Are
how's Iron
you-
Flame going?
No.
On week 27 of Crimson Reading Iron Flame.
7 years later.
So Sophie is not aware. So I read, like, I keep doing this with Rebecca Yarrow's books. I don't know why. I read like a little over half of Iron Flame, and then I took a break for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I got back into it and then like devoured it.
Okay.
And then Iron Flame, I dove right in. I was totally on track to finish it in time for Onyx Storm, which they're not in view right now, but I have 2 copies. I have the special edition copies. And I got to, I think I'm at like 75% of Iron Flame. And man, I have been staring at the same paragraph for, what is it, a month now? Like a while. So I missed the deadline, and then I was like, it's fine. Like, I'll just keep reading a little every day. And anyway.
She takes on walks on the metro.
Like, I do. I really do. It's not even in its jacket because it lives in my bag and it lives next to me, and I just don't ever. I've tabbed a lot. There's a lot of tabbing going on. I am so how it is we're at chapter 48, page 458, and that's still where we are, guys. Violet had some big jealousy feelings, and I wasn't feeling it in that moment, and I haven't gotten there, okay? Like, we need to regroup. Anyway, Iron Flame is what's on my TBR right now. And along with some contemporary romances, Sophie really is next on my TBR, and also I am planning on reading Price of Innocence and the second book by S.J. Taylor as well. So those are
I
those are
forgot I need to read the first one of those.
and then I think after that I am planning on Scythe and Sparrow, and then Vampire plus one.
Yeah.
So I have a plan. I just have to actually
Execute it.
Yeah. I've been chasing a promotion at work that's almost here, so my life has been kind of chaotic. But anyway,
She's killing it though.
we're
Love that.
fine. Iron Flame, the dragons are still there. It's okay.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere.
They're
No.
not. They're not. They're right there on the edge of that. Anyway, so that's how my week's been. That's the plan. We'll see what happens by the next time we talk.
Nothing.
Next time you're on, maybe she'll have finished it.
Maybe.
Maybe she'll be close to the end of Iron Flame.
This is Delulu land, okay? I'm gonna be totally finished with Onyx Storm next week. Come on. Come on.
Okay.
Emmy, what are you reading right now?
So I just finished Packing Around.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it for like the first 40-50%. And then once they all kind of like, I love the way all the characters like met and how they interacted and how they built their relationships with each other. And there's very much a lot about like the characters. It's not all about her. It's about like the boys building their relationships together and like how whatever. I love that. And then after like 50%, it was just like shag in like. And I was very much like, there's no plot here, so I did skip quite a lot of it. So did I really read it? Not really. But the ending was really good, so that was great. I'm still reading Cruel is the Light. And I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it's giving... I don't know how to explain it, but the way that it's written very much reminds me of the Shadowhunter books. But like the newer ones, like Lady of Darkness, kind of. Lady of Darkness, that is not
Queen of Darkness.
Lady
Queen of Darkness.
Lady Midnight. Queen
Lady
of Darkness.
Midnight. There we are. Yeah. Lady Midnight. It's a night. Those took me a wee while to get through, and I'm like an avid Shadowhunter girly, so I'm enjoying it. But I've been enjoying it for a while. I think it's been 3 podcast episodes. I'm still reading the same book.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm not even halfway through yet. I'm going to try to bash it out because I really had such high hopes for it too. And I feel like I probably will really like it, but I think I just need to sit down and bulk read it because I keep like forgetting what I'm reading, and I don't think that that's great. So my plan this week is to hopefully finish that. Maybe. And I will I'll probably read False Confidence this week.
That stresses me. I hope you love it, but it stresses me.
I'll let you know. I'll send you a message.
Ask, yeah, like what if you just like soft DNF it for a while so you're in like a better place?
My issues was when I soft DNF, I don't go back because I don't like starting from the beginning again. It really annoys me.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, like I got like halfway through the 3rd Zodiac Academy book before soft DNFing, and I'm gonna have to just restart with book 2, I think, and like get caught back up. Yeah. So, well,
and
best of luck though.
Yeah, thank you. There is another.
You're going to need it.
There is another book. I'm going to start filming my Read It or Unhull It series for YouTube in like the next couple of weeks, and there's a couple of books on my shelves. So Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, and I have never liked a Chloe Gong book, and I've read like almost all of them. I just can't get into it. And I also have Book of Night by Holly Black. And I didn't like the Quill Prince series, but I thought I would try like something else because it's a bit darker, I think. So those two books are on my read it or on hold it books. So I don't know whether I'm going to be having a fun time or not, to be honest with you guys.
Just read more Midnight Sun. Just
I'm trying to read like 2 chapters of that a day, and I'm like 6 chapters behind because I don't want to pick it up and bored.
Oh,
His internal
poor
monologues give
Edward.
me anxiety. I never
You
liked
get
him
so much
once.
Carlisle in this book. Pull it
There
together,
is so
woman.
much Carlisle. So much.
Maybe.
So much hot Dr. Daddy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Can we not just have like a hot Dr. Danny book?
We should. She's missing out on that.
Mm-hmm.
The fan fiction, though. The fan fiction is there.
It hits. Yeah.
know-
That is true.
What was I watching the other day? I watched something the other day, and the actor who plays Charlie Swan was in it. And
You're watching
I-
Gilmore Girls, babe. She
Oh,
dates. She dates him.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh my god,
what?
so she does.
Yeah.
Lorelai dates Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was
I
sitting
forgot
there,
about that.
And you're the one who told me, because I was sitting there, I was staring at the TV, and I kept thinking, like, why does this guy look fucking familiar? And then someone was like, I was like, ooh, you got to the part with Daddy Charlie or something. And I was like, ah, yes.
My Luke
No,
smug
he
is
just,
behind me.
Who does he play in Gilmore Girls?
He's just like
He's-
a romance,
he's just
like
yeah.
pops in and out for a couple of episodes.
He's
okay.
he's Suki's old this guy that she used to work with. She's her old colleague's friend who hits on Lorelai, and then they date for a while. And he's gonna
Yeah.
open a coffee shop. That's his whole
I
thing.
absolutely do not remember him.
Yeah, he's
And
not
Luke
memorable.
teaches her to fish
For
Yes,
him.
for him.
for him, because he likes fishing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't.
But the best
remember
part of
who
that
he
whole
is.
thing is Luke teaching her to fish. Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In a kiddie pool, and she keeps the fish.
So I am watching all the way through Gilmore Girls because I watched it up until like really right around now, like season 3, season 4 as a kid. And then but I wasn't like religious about it at all. Like it was really more my friends thing that I would see. So for some reason I identify with a lot more with it more now, probably because I'm Lorelai. But anyway, I mean, I didn't have a kid at 16, but like her personality and my personality vibe a lot. And we both have mommy issues. So
Slay.
yeah. So it's been my like comfort watch, and it's kind of been derailing my TV watching because I was watching Supernatural, but I can't possibly watch Supernatural while I'm watching Jared Padalecki play Dean. Like that's not
Yeah,
It's
glad I
so
hadn't thought of
weird.
that. Very different vibes.
Very.
yeah, very different vibes, and the name is so it's not working.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's fine
know,
because I'm really loving Gilmore Girls.
His name in my head is Michael. Do you know that? So my sister
Bob,
loved Supernatural. Right. So my sister loved Supernatural, and I feel like I don't like his name, and it doesn't suit him. So I used to just call him Michael. So
But there's a Michael that's like
Wait.
a really pivotal character in it.
Yes. So wait. So you know Jared Padalecki as Sam, but you didn't like the name Sam, so you called him
no,
Michael.
I didn't
so in
like
your
his.
brain-
I didn't like Jared.
Oh, okay.
That actor is
Oh.
called Michael.
but
Poor
the character's
Jared.
still Sam.
Right.
Yeah.
Why Michael?
He's always getting called a different name, and you just made up a totally different one.
Michael
Yeah.
was like
Why can't he just be
unhinged, man.
Sam?
I have no idea where it came from. I don't know.
I love this.
I also didn't like. So what's it's Sam and I've never seen Supernatural. Is it
Dean.
Dean?
Jensen.
Yeah, that's why it's
Ackles.
weird
So-
that he's Dean for me
Yeah,
in Gilmore
it-
Girls.
To me, it should be swapped. I don't like it.
Oh, is it? Did you watch Gilmore Girls first? Is that why?
Oh no! I suppose I watched Gilmore Girls first. I've never seen Supernatural.
Okay.
I've seen like
I feel like
three
Dean
episodes.
fits Dean in Supernatural.
fine.
Like
It
I feel like
does.
that fits him. Yeah.
I think you should watch Supernatural
You
because
should.
Jensen Ackles is maybe the hottest man alive
He is.
at that period of time. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know that he would be now, but at that time, for what we had on TV, that man is so
Yeah.
fine.
He is like-
it is criminal.
He is like an edgy himbo.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And
But,
do you know
like-
that trend going
But
around?
with so much empathy in his heart that he
Yeah.
just doesn't know how to get out. Ugh.
He's
Anyway.
he's kind of got that like slightly dirty man but attractive vibe going on. You know, like
Accidentally
Mandalorian.
pretty.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like Aragorn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and it was that time of like everybody had gelled hair, but we were pretending that nobody was doing
Yeah.
it. So he has like perfect
Yeah.
hair, but you're supposed to just believe he woke up that way. It's great.
We didn't know any different at the time.
No. Yeah. We were. Yeah.
Well, I'll keep you updated. I'm watching Suits at the moment again.
Well, fair enough.
So I'm reading.
Yeah,
What is Molly
back
reading?
on track. Molly, what are you up to?
This is what happens when we film at night. Yeah.
I am
Every
marking.
time.
I am marking and losing the will to live. I'm marking criminal law scripts for my first years and sex offences scripts for my second years. And spiraling. So my reading hasn't gone as far as it normally does, but I finished Signs of Cupidity by Raven Kennedy, which is her first series that she wrote. And I'm on the second one at the moment, so I'm reading that. And then I also finished The Fragile Threads of Magic.
The V. Schwab one?
The V. Schwab one, I think. Yeah, no, the Fragile Threads of Power.
Yes.
And it was
yeah.
excellent. And like I said, I'm reading the second book in the Signs of Cupidity at the moment, so Bonds of Cupidity, which is a Why Choose. And then I am going to start Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about that.
Nice.
Holly Hazelwood.
Love a good Hollywood.
Have you read Deep End yet? I assume that you probably have.
I has not. I have. Look, I'm gonna read it because Georgia said she's basically gonna lose it if I don't read it before Ramadan for her, so she can talk about it. And Ramadan starts end of next week, so I have to read it next week.
Oh yeah.
You have plenty of time.
It's fine.
You're like the
I
wind.
feel like Deep End is my favourite book of the year, and we're only in February, and there's no point in me reading any more books this year.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many editions do you have of that one?
Only 2.
For now.
So yeah, for now. Only 2 for now. Time will tell.
That's it.
Molly is like one of the fastest readers
Yeah, Molly,
I have ever seen.
You say you've slowed down. You haven't been able to read much. Did you say 28 books is what you're at so far?
Yeah.
28 books for the year? Yeah.
Yeah, but to be
I was
fair,
doing well.
I read 20 in January, so like this month is not as.
You have a full-time job PhD woman going on.
Yeah, it's like the only people I know who read that much are usually like stay-at-home moms because they have the time to do the like. Nope.
Molly's she's just in a whole league.
It's crazy.
Love to see it.
I have a
She
friend
is a
who
winner.
I thought was the fastest reader I knew, and she's only read 19 this year. So like you are blowing her out of the water. Wow.
Anyone got any last thoughts?
No thoughts, head empty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's asleep. This has been a blast. That's
I need
So fun.
Yes, you need to be better.
all right.
So if anyone's listening, please send Molly good sickness vibes. Not to be sick, but to be better from being
I
sick.
have the plague again.
Don't do the opposite. Yeah, please don't like force her to have the plague, please.
Yeah.
We do not need another one of us gets sick each week and we've no
Man.
podcast for
Oh,
a
that
month.
was
Like,
brutal. So brutal. We were like so ahead. We were like weeks ahead in recording, and then the winter holidays just took us out. Like
We had the plague back to back.
yeah.
it was crazy.
We didn't film for like a month, but you would never have known.
No,
That's good.
We're still playing catch up.
now we're
Yeah.
trying to like build that back up. Yeah.
Anyway. Right.
Thanks so much, guys. I've had so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you
coming on.
so much
Thank you
for
so
coming
much.
on. It's been so nice. And we
Thanks
will
for
have you back
having me.
at some point.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I'll
Okay,
speak to you
well,
soon.
see you later.
Bye.
If anyone is looking for Sophie, we will leave all of her links in the description, and we would heavily recommend that you check out some of her books because Molly is an avid fangirl. I have been turned into an avid fangirl, and Crimson is about to be shoved into Sophie's
I can
fandom
feel it
also.
coming for me. Yeah.
Feet first, head first, whatever.
No complaints. It sounds amazing. Yeah.
Tits first right
Can't
in
wait.
there.
Slay.
Yeah. But thank you so
Yeehaw.
much for listening.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. And on that note, yeehaw, goodbye. if anyone's looking for us, as usual, all of our links are down in the description, and we'll pop Sophie's down there as well. And this was really fun. I loved, I'm sure these guys loved as well, having someone else on the podcast. It's not just the three of us. And
Yeah, fuck's sake, I'm getting sick of you.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
on, guys.
We're 11 episodes in.
Same thing.
I've had quite enough of seeing your faces twice a week.
You're such a liar. You love us.
You love us.
Crimson didn't, she was so busy at work, she didn't reply in the group chat for like 24 hours.
We were
I
so
went on a
bereft.
spiral.
Melted
I
down.
It was so
spiraled. I actually turned around to Alex and was like, what if her cat died? What if
Oh my
she
God.
died? What if John's in the hospital? What if
Oh,
Crimson's in the hospital? My instinct was like, because you're so good at like protecting other people, my instinct was like, not that something was wrong with you, if something was wrong with someone else, you were in like fix it mode.
That actually
And
is,
I panicked.
is not a
I
bad
had
guess.
I
would do
couldn't
that.
sleep. The night that you were, I couldn't sleep. I don't know what was going on with me. I was like, I'm nervous.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're joking about not seeing each other, but even when we aren't recording, we're usually like in voice
Chatting.
chat or like we hang out like literally every day. So
Have a lovely, lovely night, and we will see everyone next week.
absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.